Hey, everybody, welcome to the Nation, Barbecue Nation. I'm JT, along with, what's her name? Oh, yeah, Leanne Whippen, the
Oh.
Barbecue Hall of Famer, the blonde lady on the top of your screen there. We're
Hey.
coming to you from our respective studios in Portland and Tampa. Leanne actually has a couple studios, quote unquote, in Tampa, so I'm never sure which one she's at, but she always
I'm
shows up.
yeah, I'm in my regular studio today.
Are you? Are you?
Yes.
Okay. Must be nice to have two or three studios like
Not
that.
really.
Anyway, our guest today is, if you follow anybody on social media, I'm sure you're aware of her. It goes by the handle Seattle's Butcher's Wife, Misty Banchero. Is I say that right?
Yeah, you sure did. Seattle
Oh,
Butcher's wife, Misty Banchero.
there you go. I like that. Um, I had not met Misty until about 5 minutes ago, and so this will be fun. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How the how, what, where, and why? I mean, people can get that a lot of stuff off your pages, but your history with food and meats, especially, go back a ways. A lot of familiar ties there. You tell us about that.
Sure. It was probably somewhere around the end of 2019. I really wanted to help my husband and the family butchery business. We have a USDA meat processing facility here in Seattle, Mondo and Sons. I wanted them to, get the word out and use social media more because I used it in another job. And so I sat down on the couch and I'm like, we got to put some pictures up. I can help you do this really quick. And so the butcher, aka Angelo, my husband, and I sat down and, talked about like what photos do you have? I put it up. I started looking at hashtags of meat and barbecue. I got really excited, to tell you the truth. And I mean, I've always had my own separate gig. I did never participate in the family meat company. I've been married for 23 years now, and now we've always had our separate deals. But
Hmm.
there was just something that pulled me in when I saw some, cooks, and I got real inspired, I suppose, by people that made it seem simple, right? Made it seem easy enough for me to do. I mean, I'm a mom of three kids. I work, I don't have a lot of spare time, but I looked and I thought, I think I could probably do that. So I started tuning into YouTube and looked for people like, some of the classic people. Who am I thinking of? How to Barbecue Right. Yeah, I loved all his videos. Jeremy
Yeah.
Yoder, anyone who could really articulate bit by bit how to do these things. I started doing it. I started sharing on social media, specifically Instagram. And all of a sudden, I bought a used Traeger off of Craigslist, and I was sharing my things and participating in Traeger game days and had a little crowd of people in that same little family following and supporting the social media aspect. And I made friends in real life after that. And it grew to like not just like fun and exploring, but really a passion. And now that I've learned a few things, now I want to share it. And I want to inspire people like they've inspired me.
Were you able to take your everyday skills, and I'm not talking about social media and that, I'm talking about cooking and food and being a butcher's wife and family, having been in the meat business, as it were, for many years? Were you able to take those and kind of modify those and utilize those to help you get a really good start?
You know, I'd like to say yes. I think the meat knowledge, yes. I mean, I had so much more information than most people. Being married to a third generation meat guy. There's
Yeah.
just, I mean,
Mhm.
he's a plethora of knowledge. He's a science guy who puts together all these specialty sausages. We do lots of private label wholesale products, and he does all the recipes for it. And he takes family recipes too. But it's like, he knows a lot, but I'm also pretty independent and kind of hard-headed. So he would say I didn't listen to him very well. And he would say, she was on her own, and I was there for backup. That's what he would say. So sometimes cutting large pieces of meat or understanding, how to break down some pieces. Um, you know, the cooking that they do in an industrial USDA plant is so much different. You've got giant smokers where you can put, hundreds of briskets in there if you wanted to. So having a backyard was me expressing like my experience and trying new things, playing with flavors. I gathered inspiration from family, but really I was more exploring.
It's a
Uh,
great story. I love it.
Yeah,
And
Leanne, do you,
it's real. You know what I mean? It isn't like you went on social media just to do social media. Like yeah,
No.
you wanted to really relay this message, and I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. When we
we
decided Seattle Butcher's Wife was the handle, that was my goal, just to like put that out there so I didn't have to be the face of Mondo and Sons. Like I had no idea that Seattle Butcher's Wife would be a thing. I just wanted to make my own handle that wasn't a work one and wasn't my
sure.
personal one. So
Yeah, that's
that
good.
was pretty fun.
So Leanne, I'll buy you another In-N-Out burger when you come out here.
Oh,
If you can
what?
tell me
Yes.
the colloquialism, if you will, of the area of where Misty lives.
I don't know. It's terrible. I don't.
Well, I didn't know till 5 minutes ago, so
Oh, okay. I don't feel so bad. All
yeah,
right. All right.
Garlic Gulch.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
Is
it's
yeah.
that for obvious reasons or what?
Oh,
The Garlic Gulch is a nickname for the community around where I live in Rainier Valley. It's slightly south of downtown Seattle. And this is where a lot of Italian immigrants landed and started their businesses. So, all kinds of great local meat companies, bakeries, and everything under the sun Italian. So they're very tight knit community still to this day.
And good Italian restaurants, authentic.
Yeah, we have those. Yes.
Next time
I
I'm out
bet.
that way, I'm definitely looking into the garlic zone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so Misty, you've been doing this for a while now. Uh, what do you think is the most important thing you've learned? One on the cooking, smoking, barbecue side, but two also in the media side.
Mm, okay. So starting with the cooking piece, I've learned since I really am pretty meat centric and I do a lot of other stuff, but that's where I like to stay, is that, there's no such thing as time. It's really based on temperature. Patience is important. Taking notes and monitoring every grill, really mastering your own grill. I think it was Kevin Bledsoe. It was like, you got to figure out how to master your pit. That's a
Right,
master, no
right.
matter what
Yeah.
pit you have. And, I don't judge anyone for whatever pit they use. I don't care if they have a gas grill. Like, I just love the art of creating something delicious and really thinking about the way you do it. There's no rushing. There's just no rushing in barbecue. That's just how it
Right.
is. So
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
hot and fast is a method, but there's just like no rushing. You really have to take time, make sure you're, doing all the steps. If you get in a hurry, sometimes things don't turn out the way you want them to, right?
Right.
So
right.
True.
the other piece from a social media side is I've come from the world of retail. I've been a district manager, regional manager for fashion brands and whatnot, and so I've been a recruiter of talent. I've always been told to network and make these connections and meet people, and I thrive on that. That's why it always came natural and it was easy for me. So I think in the social community, it's the same thing. Sometimes you get the opportunity to do that in person, which is I love. And then
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's really, about supporting your friends online. You see someone doing something authentic or something exciting or interesting or new or and something that inspires you. Just take a minute. Just take a minute to drop a comment because that helps them, and
Right.
it tells them they're doing something that you like. And sometimes we need to know that there's an audience for everyone. Everyone needs to know that,
Yeah.
because you may do things totally different than I do. And you may like to do, a million different other things different ways, but there's someone that wants to see what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
So I think, that's where you got to open the door for people that like to share their story. Just take time and share it and support others along the way.
Well, life would be boring if everybody did things all the same way. So,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever
Do you-
seen a video and thought, who really would like this? I don't understand why they have so many follows or whatever. What? But there is an audience there. There's somebody that is just, driving to watch it. So,
Yeah.
we've had a few of them on the show over the years that
Yeah.
you kind of go, huh? You know,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I mean, like you said, we're not all in the checking the same box, but
yeah.
do you ever feel that people with the social media stuff are doing it just for that? Let me preface that. You do it because you've got a passion for it. And it's part of the biz. I get
Yeah.
that. But Leanne does it because she's got a passion for it. She's very good at it and this and that. But this is kind of a follow up to what you were just talking about. But I see some of them, not picking on them, because like you said, everybody's got an audience. But sometimes I don't feel the passion, if you will, in what they're doing.
That's right.
And maybe that's just the way I'm perceiving it, or maybe they're not that good on camera as far as emoting, whatever. Doesn't matter. Not trying to rip on them, but I think the people that rise to the top are the people that are, one, have the good skills, and two, are passionate about it.
I totally agree. I could not agree more, actually. And I mean, I'm like I said, I'm a good eye for talent. I like to
Yeah.
make friends. I'm also a good eye for talent. I feel like I can read the actions and facial expressions and how stuff is put out. The hard part is, and this, is from me, who is extremely passionate, but I also appreciate the fact that you can actually make a living doing this too. Like, it's an
Yeah.
Yeah.
amazing opportunity that, 10 years ago, I never would have thought that this would ever be a thing ever. And I could tease people that say, oh, influencer. I don't even like that word. It's annoying, right?
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about, if you like something and you want to share about it, it becomes an advertisement, and if someone's
Yeah.
willing to pay you for it, well, guess what? That changes kind of how you roll out your content. And a lot of folks that we see that maybe, I'm guessing that you also see, seem ingenuine or don't really seem to have that passion, are really maybe looking at their content as a business. It's a
Yeah.
business. And
I-
sometimes, how you get tired of your work sometimes and you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
going through the motions. Well, maybe
Yeah.
that shows. Maybe that's part of it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they might not even realize that they have this script that they always do that has some ASMR and has some little squeezes and whatever silly, things to capture the audience. But maybe it doesn't really feel authentic because it's just not anymore. And I understand
Yeah.
also that feeling of, man, this is getting tiring. No one's seeing my content because, sometimes social media doesn't support you in that way, which can be frustrating, really frustrating for some people. I've seen some people be very successful and they come to a stop because they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. No one's seeing my stuff. So
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stay in the game if you care about it. And that's why I was like, there's been many times I'm like, man, I can't believe how much my audiences or views have changed. But you know what? If I want to share something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Seattle Butcher's wife, Misty, right after this here on The Nation. Don't go away. Welcome back to The Nation. I'm JT, and of course, Ms. Whippen is on the other end of the line there, you might say.
Yes.
You can follow us on all the different social media platforms, um, Facebook, Twit, X, whatever you want to call it. Leanne does a lot on Instagram, um, all kinds of stuff. You can find us. She does. She actually posts a lot more than I do. So,
And I
it,
don't post that much.
yeah, I know. I have been trying to be good about it and like do a couple posts, mostly about the shows,
Right.
at least 2 or 3 posts a week.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good.
yeah, well, I'm not that guy. Anyway, we've got Misty Banchero with us today, Seattle's Butcher's wife. And we were just talking about social media. If you just tuned in and you missed the first part of the show, you'll have to catch it on the pod. Um, your favorite stuff to cook and prepare, Misty. You're butcher's wife, so I'm sure you've got access to all kinds of things. But is it the standard, SOP for barbecue folks, brisket, or do you like to, for years I always championed tri-tips because they were easier to cook, quicker to cook, and actually great to eat. So, what
Yeah.
about you?
Well, you kind of hit it on the head. If you had asked me last year, I might have still said brisket, and I still love cooking brisket, and more or less for the challenge because every piece is a little different. Sometimes it comes out. I like to change things up and just keep testing myself,
Sure.
and I like that challenge. But no, lately, if somebody said, "Hey, we're gonna want to grill or barbecue with me this weekend," I'd probably get picanha and I'd probably get tri-tip only because they're still super delicious. They don't take as long. You can do so many different kinds of preparations with them, even if it's friends over and they just want to taste your meat and
Yeah.
give a taste. Like that's a great way to just introduce them to barbecue. And then if you want to make a fancy plate, you can do that too. And you can make crostinis or any sliders, anything you want with all of those things. So I think those are so easy to make a crowd happy, and you can still kind of play with the seasonings, the flavors, texture, whatever you want to do with those two. Picanha, I like to cook it whole. I like to slice it also and do the skewers because it looks cool. And so, I mean, I always say fat on, please, if I'm doing open fire. So yeah, it's fun. Those are probably the two cuts I like to play with.
Well, and what about you? We've talked about a million things over the years since we've known each other, but I'm not sure I've ever asked you just something that Misty just referred to. Like, I like doing the tri tips because I like to put it out there and slice it. The
Mhm.
juices are coming out. Everybody goes, ooh, ah, blah, blah, blah. I'll take that piece or whatever. Um, and that kind of, shines up my light bulb there, so to speak. But what about you?
I'm a beef lover at heart, so any type of beef. Um, and the more fat, the better.
Yeah, I noticed
I
that.
love thick ribeyes, whatever. But my challenge has always been fish. And since I've been down in Florida, I have more access to it. So I really try to, and since my son in law has a boat and he fishes a lot, I'm very fortunate to get access to a variety of different fish, and I really like playing with that. So that's my latest craze. But I'm a meat lover at heart, and I agree with tri-tips, but I don't cook tri-tips that much. Um, I'm more of ribeye. I did porterhouses the other
Mm,
day. I'm a steak lover.
yeah, no, I'm with it. Missy, if you don't know, you got to follow Leanne because once in a while she pops up a fishing picture of her where she's,
I haven't been recently.
I know, but that's a couple of years ago. I think it was actually after COVID. Maybe you went out a few times and
Yeah,
you had some rockfish or redfish or bonefish. I don't know what you
right.
were catching down there, but she's there, big smile, holding little fish.
Yeah,
I love that, Leanne. I do
yeah.
follow her. Her and I just recently judged a barbecue competition together in Fort Worth, and
Yeah,
I
for the
think Leanne
second year.
is like amazing. Yeah, I think she does some really cool things.
It's so
Yeah,
fun. That's a great event. The Syndicate Smokedown in
Yeah,
Texas is just one of my
so great.
favorite events.
Me
And
too.
yeah, so it's a good time for us. And we got
it's
to know
all,
each other better. So that's cool too.
Yes,
yeah,
love that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like Misty, who is just starting off in social media, gets to hang out with this world champion woman?
Oh,
Like,
really?
really
Well, thank
cool.
you.
Yeah,
um, M&M peanuts.
Yeah, I'm a M&M peanut
Yeah, she
freak.
loves M&M
I'll remember
peanuts.
that. I'll bring her
So
snack.
next
Yeah.
time you judge with her or do an event with her, have a not one of those little dinky bags.
No, I
You
like
got
the
to have the
big bags.
pounders are better.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So little inside baseball there for you, Misty.
Good
Hmm.
to know.
You and I live in Pacific Northwest, which has an abundance of fish.
Yes.
We got all kinds of stuff, and I think one of the best products on the planet, which is Dungeness crab. Um,
Mm.
I've eaten. Of course, you've never seen me in person, so if you do, you'll know I've eaten a lot in my life. But the point is, the seafood we have here in the Northwest, I think, is you know comparable to no one in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. Do you have favorites you work with?
You know, I'm the butcher's wife. Come talking to? Who are you talking to? This is
Yeah,
Right.
Misty, the butcher's wife. The butcher is not importing fish. No, actually, we do sell some fish, but through a third party. But no, I do love fish. I just don't eat it that much. I have access to all kinds of meats, but not really
sure.
fish as much. And when I do the Dungeness crab. I love just even
Mhm.
getting fresh from the Pike Place Market. Last year, I did 3 different recipes with crab that were absolutely delicious. And I probably like the crab cakes the most. But just eating it fresh is fabulous. The only thing I don't like is, you know, getting it out of the crab shell.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
that's
little
work.
tough.
I
Yeah.
was like, man, this is so much time doing this. I hope I can get to the food eventually.
Yeah.
I know it's more expensive to buy it already cracked, but I have balanced that with giving it a lot of thought over my life and thought, the extra $15 you pay a pound or whatever it is,
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it. You know. You're not getting crab juice all over you and a mess and all that. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of fun for people that have never done it when they come
Yeah.
in from other areas to do that once. But
Yeah, once.
once I did treat Leanne to some crab when she was up here. I
Oh,
think
it's excellent. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, we do
I
that.
mean, we have the best salmon, so I do salmon, and I really, if I'm going to deep fry fish, I really love halibut. Like even if I'm not going to, I'll steam that
I
even.
love halibut.
I love halibut and
I
salmon;
almost
those are
feel
my
like
favorites.
yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like halibut is underrated. I don't know.
I
Totally.
love halibut because it's almost got a
Lemon.
beef texture to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, you just like that.
Yeah.
And we have the other fish. We have lingcod and sole and all that stuff here, which are very much lighter and all that. But
Yeah.
I'd have to go with crab, halibut, and salmon up
Salmon.
here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got to take another break, and Leanne and Misty and I will be back in just a minute here on the Nation. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Barbecue Nation. That would be this show you're listening to, along with Ms. Whippen and Ms. Misty, the Seattle butcher's wife here. But this is the part of the show where Leanne gets to talk about one of her favorite subjects, not M&Ms
Mm-mm.
and not me. Her favorite subject is what?
Pig powder.
Yeah,
My
oh,
dad's
there you
my
go.
dad's pig powder. Right. Trim Tab's pig powder. That's my dad's nickname, Trim Tab, because he was a pilot. And you know how they have the Trim Tab?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how he got that nickname in the Navy. But yeah, excellent rub. It's sweet with a little bit of heat, but the new spicy is coming out and it'll be on the website soon. Don't get discouraged if you go there and it says we're sold out. It's because we're waiting for the new shipment and new labels. So it's on its way. Can be used on seafood, beef, pork, chicken. Really, it's great on shrimp, French fries, baked beans, you name it. It's very versatile, and it's won the coveted award of best rub on the planet.
You saw the picture I sent you, right? From the TV last week?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
dish you made for TV.
Little chicken thigh with pig powder
Yep.
and on rice with some mango and peach salsa, little basil on top. It worked out
Mm-hmm.
really good. So
Yeah.
I can be a human testimonial for pig powder here. That
Yes. Thank you.
Leanne's stuff is really, really good. You ever tried it, Misty?
Yes, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank
see, there you go. That's all we
you.
need to hear.
Okay.
Now we can talk about golf or something. Anyway, what does your family think of all this that you're doing? I mean, your husband's probably busy if he's a butcher and running a company and all that, or however that's laid out there. But you said you had kids, you're doing this, and all of a sudden, mom is jetting off to New York or Fort Worth to hang out with Leanne and doing this stuff, and it's like, what the hell's going on here?
I think at first it was probably annoying. I think when I first started Instagram, it was all about photos, right? So the photos, not videos. So I think laying out all these things and having lights overwhelming the kitchen area and trying to make space for everything I was doing. We're like, what is she doing? Like, what is this all about? Until all of a sudden, people, even their friends, the kids' friends at school saying, "Oh, is your mom doing this social media thing?" And it was kind of embarrassing. And
Oh,
now
sure.
it's super cool because
Now you're cool. That's
Yeah.
right.
and so if you've looked at my page, I'm doing this little series of cooking at the dorm. My youngest is in college. And so I'm just driving up to Western on the border of Canada there and cooking with her roommates. And they can't wait for it. They have so much fun and they're learning and they think it's cool. So I went from
Yeah.
like, that's weird mom to, okay, she's a cool mom. And my husband totally supports. He's so great because he definitely lets me take the spotlight. He's very knowledgeable and can probably do, everything that I'm doing, but he's not a social media guy. So he loves it. And if I need help to go to an event, he'll help me pack up my truck, like do whatever it takes to support. If I need another helping hand to do some open fire situation, he'll keep my fires going for me. If I go next door, go start up my little pit, and I'm going to go cook on it in a few minutes, he'll go step out if he can. So I get a lot of support. The people that are the funniest are my friends in high school, because I didn't ever cook when I was younger. And
Yeah.
is that really you, Misty? I said, you didn't really make that, because you could like not even cook Pop Tarts back in the day. I'm like, yes, believe it or not, like I've learned a lot. So it's just so funny to see their reactions to it. It's hilarious.
Well, I bet your daughter is very happy to see you come up and do those cooks up there because it beats the hell out
Yeah.
of dorm food.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember that was a long time ago when I went to college, but I can tell you that, yeah, something like that would have just got everybody fired up on our floor, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all good. What, um, what are your ultimate goals? Are you just going to let it roll and see where it ends up, or do you have a plan?
I'm pretty much because this has been kind of a fun thing that turned into like, oh my gosh, I gotta take it a little more serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It went from fun. I don't want to have a plan. I don't want to do that, because I've had to do that so much in my career. I'm like, this needs to stay a hobby, right? But the hobby now has turned into like so many things. So I have to be really planful about how I spend my time. And it was about 3 4 weeks ago actually that I decided to go work for the family business full time. So I'm now working down there in a HR/operations capacity for the family business.
Mm-hmm.
So by doing that and being around the whole processing facility, I think my long-term goal is to create products that I can sell locally. You're here, so you understand, like New Seasons, we used to be in there. We used to do all of their fresh sausage. But PCC is the equivalent to this way. So we do all the PCC fresh sausage. We do smoked lines. We do lots of private label things. We do all of the meats for Taco Times Northwest. If you ever go to
I love taco time.
we have a whole team that like wraps up their crispy burritos. We are behind that whole, like, you can buy those frozen burritos now in the drive-throughs and at Metropolitan Market. Like, so we are able to get product to shelves right locally. And so for me, I'm just working on it with my husband and like what makes sense for Seattle Butcher's Wife product. That would be the end goal, is to share something that I have created with a local community. I feel like I have more connections in Texas and
Yeah.
DC or Kansas, and people know who I am more there than I'm doing in Seattle. So other partnerships like working with wineries, doing events locally so that I can engage more with the Seattle and Pacific Northwest community, because we're just not huge on barbecue. There's no world championship of barbecue in Seattle.
Right.
I got
Portland either.
yeah,
Yeah.
nothing like that. So those are my end goals. I don't die to get on a TV show. I've had some opportunities to do cookbooks, and I've considered it. I've started doing some recipes, but I'm not ready to launch it until I really know what story I want to tell with it. So yeah, slow but sure, at my own
Yeah.
pace.
Oh, I can tell you this. I've died a few times on television. So uh, didn't worry. You said taco time. If you don't live in the Northwest,
I never
and
heard
really
of it.
if you don't live along the I-5 ditch, as we call it, you wouldn't know what taco time was. But it is one of the best fast food
Yep.
Really?
Mexican deal. Yes. Yes. I mean, Taco Bell is just beans, lumps, and occasionally something that used to go moo or cluck. But Taco Time, when you get like a beef burrito from them, it's the meat is seasoned wonderfully. The sauce is, I should talk to them about being a sponsor, I think.
Right.
Anyway, it's just really, really good. And when they make their tacos, they're all fresh, nothing's pre-done.
Yep.
Wow.
The lettuce is crisp, the ground beef is crisp, or the
Yeah.
chicken, whatever you want. Um, I
They're
think that's
diligent. They source locally too. Like they don't
yeah.
mess around. They are very strict on their guidelines. We've been working on creating their, because we do all of their beef and bean stuff, and we're working on their chicken crisp burrito. And they're just very particular about how they do things, and they care about sourcing. They care a lot about using all natural and
That's
local
good.
ingredients. Like it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have in the town I live in, they don't have one. So I have to drive 20 miles south or 30 miles north or about 15 miles, 15 miles, 18 miles west to find one.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do. So there's a plug for Taco Time there. But
Cool.
Yeah.
Free plug.
yeah, free plug, but it's all good. Um, when you do that, you talked about metropolitan markets. We have some phenomenal here in the Northwest. Uh, Market of choice, metro markets, like you said, new seasons, that type of thing. We have those there. And I really think that gives us kind of an eclectic advantage, if there is such a thing, because you can go in those markets. They're not like your Safeway and Wally World and that. There's nothing wrong with them, but you can really get some great stuff in there.
Yeah.
And good to hear that you're working with outfits like that, because
Mm.
that's really good. What do you see yourself doing in 5 years?
Ooh. Can I just say retirement, like on the beach in Florida? No, just
Well, Leanne thought that
kidding.
too, but then she met
Yeah.
me, and hell, here she is. So
Yeah, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Well, let's see. So that's probably right after my youngest graduates from college. So I don't know. I probably still see myself hustling and working and for the meat company, doing continuous events. Maybe hopefully by then having some product lines into these specialty stores locally and being able to promote them. I would really like to be better at doing long form video. And so having YouTube resources, maybe even creating, I've been talking about this for too long, but doing like the monthly cuts of meat, where I could ship out, here's a tri tip and here's 3 ways to cook it. Here's a video to
right,
go with it, that kind of thing. It just makes sense to do all that. It's just funny because I'm in my mind, I'm kind of like, okay, I definitely want to do that. I love helping people, but I also have like hustled a lot over the years with my own career. So now I kind of enjoy having a little bit of a balance and, picking out what I want to invest my time into. So I think having those meat kits is a great idea. Being present still, family is really important to me. So as much as I like travel, I also like to stay home and hone in there. So partnering up, I have a partnership with the local Ace Hardware friend. So we talked about doing some local classes, especially for like women, and encouraging them to get to the grill. Like that's my passion.
cool,
Awesome.
cool. Do you ever think we're overwhelmed with the social media, just media in general? I mean, I don't know what the number is now, but we don't realize it, but we are bombarded with like 27,000 images a day or some ridiculous number. Do you ever think that gets too overwhelming for people?
I definitely do. So I think that's why, a lot of people have followers. This is always what I preach. Is like you have followers and you have fans. The
Yeah,
the followers might have seen that one time that you sliced the brisket and it looked so good and they liked that and they thought, "Oh, I like brisket, so I'll follow you." And you may never see them again. You may never
right,
they may never comment. They may never see your page because they probably follow a lot of folks.
Mhm.
And then the fans are the ones that are kind of really following you and your story. And I think that
And
that's the
they
difference.
engage more,
Yeah.
or they engage, period.
Yeah, and those are the people that if you put out a product, they'll probably buy it. Those are the people that if you do a local event, they'll probably try to show up. That actually care and seem invested, and those are the people that I really want to capture versus millions and millions of followers that don't really. I don't know if they'll ever really care about what I'm doing. I'd
right.
love to capture people that are curious about, meat and barbecue, and they don't have to really get to know me, but maybe they're wondering like, who is this woman in Seattle? I think if she can do it, I can do it. That's all I
Right.
want, So
There you go. There you,
photos, there's lots of photos out there, but it's totally different when you make a connection.
oh, absolutely. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Leanne and the Garlic Gulch princess herself, Misty, on the right after this. Don't go away. Welcome back to the nation. We're very fortunate to have Misty Banchero with us today, Seattle's butcher's wife. And of course, Leanne is here. Misty's going to stick around for a few minutes for after hours this week. I have not told her anything about what we do on after hours. Um,
And
so
you
that might
shouldn't.
I
So it's more
shouldn't.
of a
It should be a
surprise.
surprise.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I've come up with a few more new questions, Leanne,
Oh, good.
just so you know that. Um,
Okay.
I want to get this out of the way now, and we'll do it at the end too. Where can people find you?
For me, oh,
Yeah.
they can find me on Seattle Butcher's Wife on most of my social media handles for Instagram, and I'm mostly on Instagram, but I do have a TikTok that's Seattle Butcher's Wife, MB, my initials.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
No Facebook or anything, really?
I don't want to even talk about Facebook. They took my
Okay.
page, took my page down for no reason, and I'm so mad at them. I haven't tried to put it back up or tried to make a new one. Yeah, that sometimes you can't. That's what you learn. You can't control a lot of social media pieces.
Well, I got hit last week. This is kind of weird. I got hit because I get messages. We all get messages.
Yeah,
And it said this message was from Bob, whoever. And then all of a sudden it said, your Facebook page is not meeting our protocols, blah blah. Well, it was a hack, you
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
And I thought, Jeff, you big dummy.
yeah,
You should have known better. First of all, I don't know who this guy is. He's not a connection, a fan, follower, whatever, like that. But I opened it and it said you're in danger, and then everything went
yeah,
to hell. So I had to fix
yeah.
all that anyway.
I
Yeah.
haven't
But
had any of those hacks, but I did with mine. It just said, your thing is going against a profile. I was researching everywhere, and I had a friend who's worked there for 15 years to try to help me undo it. And it looked like someone hacked into my business account and tried to purchase ads with it was like a foreign language, tried to
mhm.
purchase ads with a foreign credit card on my
Oh
account.
boy.
And I was like, what? No one can seem to help me. So I'm so frustrated. I'm like, should I start again or not? I don't know. So I'm kind of irritated about that, but I probably need to get back in the game because some people really just love Facebook. So I really should live there. It just irritates me that I can't get any help.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was always a Twitter guy when it started. And I've had good luck with Twitter, but like I said, I'm not posting that much on it anymore. But okay, so let's give you a scenario here. You've got, and I'm not stereotyping, but let's say you've got a 45-year-old woman who likes to cook. Kids are kind of out of the house or headed out the house now, and maybe she sees your stuff and she goes, I could do that. And she sees you hanging out with Leanne, television superstar there, and
Yeah.
she could go, yeah, I could do that. What advice are you going to give her?
Oh, well, I think if the first advice I'd give her is making sure that she is really confident in her cooking abilities, 100%. Like some people might look at me and say, "Oh, that looks like pretty easy to do. I can just follow a recipe." But you really have to invest the time and energy to learn exactly the techniques and what you're doing before you really share a lot with confidence, right? So
Yeah.
hone in on the cooking skills. The second part is, I can give lots of advice, and I spend a lot of time doing that still today. People ask me, can you give me some feedback on my reels? And I'll definitely tell them. Usually going to start off with the end product. So no one wants to see raw meat to start any video. So you're going to start off with the end product that looks fantastic and makes you hungry. And then if you want to show the process, then you go through it relatively quickly, very specific, good lighting, clear photography, and then wrap it up with some kind of call to action. So there's a lot of little basics, tips that I would give them. If it's a 45-year-old woman, I'd also say plan effectively, because you got to balance and juggle a lot of things, a lot of things in your life. So plan, because sometimes you start something and you think this brisket's going to take 12 hours, no problem, and it takes like 14, and then you've got
Yeah.
two other things in between that you have to go stop and go do. So planning is important.
What about beer?
What?
Here.
Get the beer ready to be.
Yeah.
I think we sip on bourbon around here mostly, but and wines, but not as much the beer. I don't know why.
Well, beer and barbecue kind of are,
Totally. The summer,
centric there.
yeah, the summertime. I want a cold, icy beer with one of those andouille sausages we make.
Huh. I'm
Oh,
gonna have to
sounds
come for a
good.
visit.
Yeah, I got you. Come on
Get a
over.
sampling
Sure.
going up there or
Heck
something.
yeah.
Mhm. It's all good. Um, as we're cooking, we're doing this stuff, and of course, I think most people when they think of barbecue, and maybe they're listening to the show for the first time, they think of like beef and pork, you know. But there's so
I
many other
agree.
things. It's like, what do you think when you say barbecue? Ribs, you know,
Yeah.
pull, brisket, steaks, because the steak holidays are coming up, if you will, that type of thing. But there's so many other things that we can do that are proteins, um, chicken and lamb and different things like that. Do you, when you're looking for stuff to do on your social media and creative, are you looking, and again, you've got an unfair advantage because of familial ties, but do you look at, maybe I can do you know, a crown roast, or maybe I can do chops with something lamb. I'm speaking of, or like that. How do you evaluate what you're going to do and the value to saying, if I do lamb chops this week, am I going to get as many views as I do when I do a T-bone, for example?
Yeah, good question. I think that people do look to Seattle Butcher's Wife for meats. And that's just like,
Mhm.
that's what I am. Um, so there is a little, excuse me, a little bit of an expectation there. And honestly, over the last year or so, I have not specifically selected a recipe hoping for views. I just haven't.
Yeah,
I thought, well, I have a list and it's really long of recipe ideas that I have done and I liked and I want to do again and show it, or some ideas that I like this, but I think I want to put my own twist on it. So I have like a whole list of inspiration of things I want to do. None of them are based on how many views I'd get. They're
sure.
just like really cool ideas or fast. And now that I'm working at the shop, it's a little bit harder for me to balance getting a lot of those I want tos, mixed in with, okay, I got some advertisements coming up this summer.
Hmm.
It's the
Yeah.
barbecue season. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I want to put more of my own, just regular stuff out there, but balancing it all is a little challenging, but I'll get it together.
Oh, I understand, and it's I know Leanne feels this way. You're like tap dancing on landmines and juggling
It
grenades
is
at the
hard.
same
It's
time.
and you have to prioritize and you know, I think Misty, you're very organized and I think that helps in your success. I really do.
Yeah, I think it's all good. One more time, where they can find you before we have to wrap this part of the show up and go to after hours.
Sounds good. Anyone listening can find me at Seattle Butcher's Wife on Instagram primarily, and then Seattle Butcher's Wife MB on TikTok.
And she's a star, folks. She's a star.
Yes.
I'm glad. I'm glad we. Excuse me. I'm glad we finally got to meet, and we'll do this again at some point. We do that, and this show is going to air a week from now because we've done a tribute to Paul Kirk, which will air this week, like that. So when we get to that point, I'll send you the links and all that. Okay.
Sounds great. I love that. Paul Kirk was actually an inspiration to my husband. He was in the Pacific Northwest Barbecue Association. You probably know that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was looking at an old cookbook where he wrote a little note for, make your wife happy with barbecue inside the book that he wrote.
There you go.
Aw,
There you
Never
go.
knew this would be.
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we got to get out of here. Misty, thank you. Leanne, as always, thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week with another edition of The Nation out there in the world and the ether. And we'll be there. You can guarantee it. Thanks for listening. Remember our motto: turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome to After Hours here on Barbecue Nation. I'm JT along with Ms. Whippen, my dear friend, and also Misty Banchero from Seattle, Garlic Gulch up there, the Seattle butcher's wife. And Misty doesn't know about After Hours, but she soon will.
Ooh.
Okay. First question. If Leanne gave you a box with everything you've lost in your life, what would be the first thing you reached for?
My wedding ring.
Oh.
Really?
Yes. It's been missing. I took it off watching my wedding video on my dad's couch in Florida years ago, leather couch, and I handed it to my daughter who wanted to try it on because we were watching my wedding video. And somehow between the couch and the rental car outside, we were getting ready to go to dinner. It was just gone. And so
Wow.
I have not found it. I have not replaced it. I've been so, I don't know, hopeful that someday it's just going to pop up, because there wasn't any reason
Isn't
that.
that something?
Yeah, it's a hardwood floor too. Like we just scoured the whole place year after year. He's like, I looked for your ring again today, honey, and no luck. So
Oh
yeah,
my
that's the
goodness.
one thing.
I will tell you this is I've not told Leanne this story. I normally, and most people don't know this, I carry a St. Christopher medal, but I don't like to wear them around my neck. I don't like stuff around my neck. So, in fact, it's right here. You can't really see it, but it's right here. And I thought I lost it because I usually put them in my pocket, especially when I'm going to play golf, because I need all the help I can get, right?
Yeah.
And so I lost it, and I was just beside myself because this one I've had for a long time. And the other day, I walked out to get in my car, and I just happened to look down by the little flower planter we have, and there it was on the
Wow.
ground. So I
Wow.
found it. That
Oh my
was some
God.
divine
You know, my
intervention.
my mom just recently lost a necklace, and I looked everywhere. This is just last week, and she found it in one of those little jewelry cleaner things. She had forgotten she put it in there to clean her jewelry,
Oh
but
my
I don't know
Oh.
if you had a jewelry cleaner at the time. Maybe it's in a jewelry
Yeah,
cleaner.
I know my sister-in-law, she had lost her wedding ring too. They live next door. And she found hers like a couple years ago. Actually, her husband did and surprised her on their
Oh,
anniversary. Like
wow, that's so
Well, there you
cool.
go. There you go.
impossible. Yeah. So you
Well, that
never
was an
know.
appropriate question, Jeff. I
Yeah.
like that.
Um, what's your favorite lifesaver color?
Red.
What's one song you want to hear on the radio when you start your car?
American Woman.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
Uh, okay. Uh, what is I should say, describe your happy place if you have one.
Yeah. My happy place, gosh, I probably have a couple. My happy place doing things and not relaxing is absolutely standing with a little apron by my grill and flipping some meat and smiling with my friends, having a good time, maybe sipping on a little something. That in a sunshiny day in Seattle, which is rare. So that's
That's
happy.
rare.
That's happy. The other part of me is vacation happy, where I'm just no cares, no feelings, chilling at the beach, just wind through my hair, maybe a cocktail. Like that's happy.
Yeah.
Cocktails are good. Wind in the hair is good. Well, if you
Yeah.
still have hair. Um, okay, here's one of the standard ones. If you could cook for, then dine with a historical figure, who would it be and what would be on the menu?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Who would I do that for?
They could be deceased too. It's a tough question. Everyone has trouble with it.
Yeah, like a historical figure. Yeah,
It
gosh.
could be a musician, it can be a politician, it could
Yeah,
be a
an actor
writer.
or actor. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there are so many. Um, geez. My mind is like going blank. Can we
Okay, we'll circle
We'll
back
come
to
back
that.
to it.
can't think of anyone?
Give you a couple minutes. What's the oldest item in excuse me. What's the oldest item in your refrigerator? Refrigerator. There, I said it properly.
The oldest item?
Yeah.
Um, probably if I was to look in there and start tossing and cleaning, it might be like olives. I can't stand olives. My husband loves them. My husband loves them, and I always shift them and move them to the back.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, oh, he never ate those. I wonder why. I just like get him out of my way so I can reach what I need. Very selfish, but
You get the green ones. If you leave them in there too long, they kind of get that sediment stuff floating around. Yeah.
Yeah.
nasty.
What's your least favorite food to eat?
Um, maybe like exotic, raw seafood items. I'm not into that. My husband used to be part of the Japanese Restaurant Association, so they used to like to test his ability to eat raw meats, specifically sushi, fish, and
Uh,
I'm not a fan of that. I just can't swallow it.
He didn't do the blowfish thing, did he?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably.
just asking there.
I'll ask.
Um, if we put your skills to music, besides American Woman, what would the music be?
Oh, probably some hip hop and R&B, like
Okay.
something with a lot of movement and soul and rhythm.
mhm.
If Leanne declared you the supreme ruler of barbecue for a week, what would you decree?
I would decree that any person that ever boiled ribs should go to jail for the rest of their life.
Get the no get out of jail free card.
That's
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
it.
I'm with you. Do you remember the first thing you ever grilled or smoked?
I do. The very first thing was a beef tenderloin, and it was beautiful. And I didn't even cut it. And my husband has shown me how to, trim a whole tenderloin into these filet mignon. Because that, to me, like that was like the ultimate steak before I learned how
Right.
to cook for myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't understand ribeyes were so great, right? I just like I was used to this cute little thing. So
Yeah.
I smoked them and reverse seared them, and they were fantastic.
Oh, cool.
What's the hardest thing you've figured out about owning your own business?
Oh, well, this is the hardest thing, and it's a fact, is that I've managed a lot of employees in my life. I've supervised teams, staffs, large groups of people, but I've realized that the hardest person to supervise is myself.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's fair. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fair. That's fair. Red or green relish?
I'm doing green. Yeah,
Okay. All right. You don't like red?
I do like it, but if I'm picking green.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you, Leanne. Leanne would
Mm,
know this maybe, I mean, and you
mm.
might too, Missy. Red relish was originally developed for what?
Hamburgers.
Yeah, yeah. Did you know that, Leanne?
No, I just know I like green relish on char dogs.
Or last thing, right? Maybe put some ketchup in the relish over here. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not a ketchup girl at
yeah.
all.
No, in fact, I got not an argument, but a back and forth with a friend of mine who's worked for Golf Channel and CBS and stuff, Charlie Reimer, and he said something about only green relish, and I said red relish was originally developed for burgers, and he said no, that's wrong. I said
Mhm,
yes,
What?
it was. Charlie, stick to golf, buddy. And
mhm.
that so it kind of went from there. Anyway, where's the worst place you've ever had to cook?
Mm, let's see here. Um, I don't cook in weird places, but as far as like not having everything that you need,
Right.
which is usually be like camping or, um, yeah, I don't know. I like to cook outside, so it's so easy to say, like, I usually cook outside, so there's not too many places that are terrible. The worst place for me to cook is some place if I'm cooking outside that's pouring down rain and I can't
Mm,
really do the open fire. Like last time I had some friends over, I wanted to cook on the Santa Maria grill and then it started raining. And so it was a little bit tricky. So weather
Well,
plays a factor in that.
well, you do live in Seattle, so
Yes, I
yeah,
do. I
that's
gotta
a
do my
deal.
best. Yeah, gotta have a cover.
Okay, here's a couple of fast ones for you. What's your favorite movie?
Gladiator.
Hey, there you go. Dire
mm.
Straits or Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber. I've seen him 3 times in concert.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Okay.
It's because I had teenage girls.
Yeah, yeah.
What's a fantasy day look like for Misty?
A what?
Fantasy
Fantasy.
day.
A fantasy day for Misty
Yeah.
looked like someone coming over and cleaning and organizing my house and my barbecue equipment.
Mm.
It's
Okay.
like, and feeding me all day, so I don't have to think.
Yeah, we got one of those here. His name's Jeff. Um, how old's the bottle of Tabasco sauce in your fridge if you have one?
I mean, at least a year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shelly and I have been married for 34 years in August, and we're on our second bottle. So
Oh,
Oh,
and you're still alive.
it's
There
still
you go.
alive.
whoa.
Yeah.
Must be the vinegar.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Couple more here. Let's go back. Who would you cook for being a historical figure, and what would be on the menu?
right. Oh man. I really should have given that more thought. I didn't know it was coming back around.
That's what circle back means.
Okay, historical figure. Okay. I, this it got me.
Okay.
I
It
can't.
could be a
Fair
family
enough.
member too. If you had somebody in your family you want to, you think that's hard, wait till this one comes up.
Wh-
So, next question. All
What
right.
is it?
What would be your last meal on death row?
Ooh.
Washington doesn't have death row, so it's a moot question. So,
My last meal would probably be a really thick ribeye steak, smoked and seared, with some good butter on top, and probably have asparagus. I'd probably have cupcake and a berry cobbler and a cocktail.
yeah, there's nothing, there's no limits on that,
That's
last
right.
deal there. So,
Wing it, one chance for you.
okay. Missy, you've been great. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks for taking the time. You're
Yeah,
so
I know you're
busy.
busy. And did you get your car fixed, by the way?
Yes, thankfully. Yeah, it wasn't
No.
even as bad as I thought. It was great.
Okay,
Good.
good.
Both.
So yeah.
You want to tell them again, real quick, where they can find you?
Sure. Anyone listening can find me at Seattle Butcher's Wife on Instagram and Seattle Butcher's Wife MB on TikTok.
And where can they find info about your husband's meat company?
Oh, Mondo and Sons.
Yeah.
Mondo and Sons is located, anyone listening here from the Pacific Northwest, in Tukwila, right by where you turn on Costco Drive, right by the Costco in Tukwila. So we do take walk-ins if people want to buy retail steaks, but most of our product is wholesale.
Oh, excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Misty, thank you. Ms. Whippen, Leanne,
Thank you.
thank you as always. Folks, we'll be back next week with another edition of After Hours. Until then, go out, cook something, have some fun, be kind to people, and don't forget our motto, turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody.